Module 1. Welcome to Module 1, Windows 2019 implementation. So Windows Server 2019 editions, there are many, more than 3. First one is Essential, next Standard, and Data Center. Now you will be given a book. So we have a book which I will give you later, because if I give it now, you will read this in, right? So I want everyone to listen first. This is a very complete, very in-depth book. It's about 801 pages. So most of the topic has been extracted here. Okay, so hindi lahat yan will be discussed. Not possible in one day. What I'm going to discuss are the essentials for you to become a system admin. Because some of the topic here are for system engineer, like storage pool, clustering, right? Federation. This is system engineer, okay? Not support IIS. That's not um, within the context of IT support or sysad. This is only for sysad. So if you want to become a system engineer, we have another course which is called hybrid. 5 days yon. We're gonna reopen. Okay. So first, what are the flavor? The flavor. Okay, so we have editions. The very popular ones are standard. Okay, so when you say standard, it's suitable for small environment. Mostly they have physical server rather than virtual machines. And remember, license is per core. Let's say you have quad core, so you have to license the 4 core, even if it's only one physical CPU. Okay. 2019, mostly used for company who use high degree of virtualization. They want to lessen the footprint of a data center. Okay, they deploy less physical, more virtual. Same story, license will be per core. Let's say you have 2 physical socket with 8 core each, so that will be 16 cores, right? So you need to license. So bibili ka ng license sa technet.com ng 16 core. Okay? Aside from that, you need to purchase the CAL, yung client access license. This is the one who will connect to the server. Let's say you have 25 users. Okay, so you have to purchase this one. And 50 computers. Let's say one is working from home using desktop, and they also have a laptop. So each student will get 2 devices, right? So you need to purchase per device licensing. Hyper-V is free. Hyper-V is free. Does not require CAL. Because what you're going to install in Hyper-V will be licensed as well. So you still need to pay. Now let's compare between the two, because these are the most commonly used operating version. So pretty much they're the same. So what's the difference? I'm gonna discuss the difference. Standard, they only have virtual machine license na dalawa, maximum of 2. Okay, so let's say you want 10, so you need to purchase the data center. So data center can host unlimited virtual machine. Okay, unlimited virtual machine. Pero per Hyper-V is only 64. Okay, includes a container license. I'm gonna discuss what is container. Then max RAM 24 terabyte. So pretty much the same. Pare-pareho. They're the same. They're the same. Storage can hit up to 2 tera because it's using master boot record. Data center can use GPT, which can store more than 2 tera or 10 petabyte data. Okay, so we don't need to know those stuff now. Okay, requirements is only 64. Well, and any all CPU are 64. Processors not really demanding. RAM, you need at least 8 gig for you to become operational. Hard drive, you only need 20 gig for operating system. But if you have huge RAM, it depends on the RAM. Okay, plus let's say 8 gig RAM plus 8 gig RAM, 8 gig space. Again, there must be 8 core license per processor and 16 core license per server if you have 2 CPU. Okay, and you need to purchase the CAL. Licensing and activation model. There's so many model. I'll demonstrate to you. One is KMS. When you purchase the operating system, you have the option to select KMS. Now, it will be activated the moment you join sa Active Directory. And merong volume. Ito yung bulk buying. Meron namang AD-based activation. You have to add the computer to that specific group of OU. Then may tool and multiple activation and merong manual. So paano yung manual? So I'm gonna connect to my server. So how do you connect? You just type the IP address, okay? And then you need to put the user ID, administrator, okay? And you know the password, one welcome exclamation. Okay, so dito I'll give you an IP address later on or tomorrow. So hindi ko napapakita kasi some student will try to connect. Now, IP address will be given and posted. Okay, so maglalagin lang ako. Trainer server. So you will be asked, oops, you will be asked by RDP. You need to provide the password. And you will be connected. So this is your server. You'll be given the server. Teka, laki masyado. Adjust ko lang. I'll adjust it. Nasaan na yan? Nawala. Saan ko nilagay? Yun, nagtago dun. Auto-adjust. Nag-a-adjust. So, laki masyado kasi. Pwede ba ito? Yan. Okay. So you'll be given a server. Hands-on lab are under C:\lab. So these are our scripts. And then you have a folder called parent. I'll discuss what is parent. So it's under VM. And we have a parent drive. Sorry, parent drive. We have PowerShell. I have PowerShell. You need to run as admin, always admin. We have ISE. So what's the difference between this one and that one? I'll explain later. Okay. So I just wanted to show you, since our topic is about activation. Okay. So how do you activate? So you activate using SLR. Can you see it? No, it's really small. So one good thing about this one is adjustable. So SLMGR. Na? Then there's a lot of option. So you need to type IPK and product key, okay, to activate manually. Okay, so how do you activate? SLMGR/IPK, then put the product key, the one you purchase, or ATO to activate. So it's a two-step process. Once you install the license, you have to activate online. /A. Para mag-activate, SLMGR ATO. SLMGR, activate online. Okay? So what's the first step? SLMGR/IPK, and then the license number, no? Whatever in license. Okay? It's very easy. And so many option. If you want to activate all, /div. If you want license file, the license is inside the file, just /lick and file.lick. Okay. What else? There's a lot. Okay, this is the Active Directory activation. So I have to type /AD activation /online space the license key. Okay. If you want to add sa Active Directory /del -AO, there should be organizational unit associated. Okay, ang dami, ang dami. Well, most admin, napakadali i-activate. Hindi naman nag-activate no? Kasi when you purchase, we purchase by bulk. So what's new in 2019? 2019 has a new admin center which can manage hyperconverge and converge. So what is hyperconverge? So we're gonna go deep dive, as in deep dive. I mean hyperconverge. Okay. So what's the difference between converge and hyperconverge infra? So if you cannot see, let me know. Sir Lit. So lalakihan natin. Kita na ba? Kita na ba? Okay, converge utilizes compute only. Compute. Okay, compute. So ibig sabihin server lang. Server only, no networking, no storage. Okay, yung dalawang yan missing. So meron lang compute power. So an example ng what is the example of converge na Windows, okay. Linux, okay. Linux, Ubuntu. Okay. Then hyperconverge, it's a hybrid combination of compute, storage, and networking. Okay? All in one. All in one. Okay, na-feel nyo? Na-feel nyo yung difference? I'll give you an example of Cisco UCS Converge. Ito, Converge to. So we have Cisco Unified Computing. It's a blade center. This is one physical host, second, third, fourth, five, six, seven, eight. 8 lang. Okay? Walang storage. You need to purchase Cisco MDS to communicate, Cisco MDS switch to communicate to storage. Okay? If you're going to see the architecture, it's like this. Yeah. So this is the server. Ito, here. This is the compute. This is the networking stage. And this is the storage, using storage. So separate ang compute sa networking and storage. So it's a very expensive implementation. It'll cost you millions of millions. Because unified computing, they need a high-end switch, which is called Nexus 7000 or 9000. It's a catalyst with a 10 gigabit connectivity. Okay. So there's a special course for Nexus. It's a 5-day course. SAN storage. So if you want to be a storage engineer, 5-day course din to for EMC or NetApp. Okay, so ito lang yun, ang compute. No? Yun ang converge. So that's converge. So what is hyperconverge naman? Hyperconverge infra, combine all. Sa hyperconverge, everything rolled into one. Everything has been virtualized. Whether the switch, the computing power, and the storage. So one example of converge is Nutanix. Nutanix HCI architecture. So Nutanix is all-in-one. All-in-one na siya. Okay, wala rito yung architecture niya.
Anong use case ng Converge?
Go ahead.
Yeah, anong use case ng Converge? Saan siya usually ginagamit?
Sorry, hindi ko marinig. Ano yan?
Anong use case ng Converge? Saan siya usually ginagamit if it doesn't have that network?
Yeah, like in my current work, we are using Nutanix. Okay, so Nutanix, meaning you only need one U. Instead of purchasing the one I showed you, we only have one server, which is called Dell XC640. One, yan lang. Ito lang, tingnan mo. Nag-iisa lang. Yan, isang ganyan. We can host 64 virtual machine servers. So we have about, I think, more than 8,000 na ganito. So within one U, within that server, included na everything, which means networking, andun na yung switch. We're gonna utilize the VMware switch. And Nutanix is a storage, okay, which replicate the virtual machine. So meron siyang replication factor. Let's say there's a server here, it's been replicated to another server in case this becomes unavailable. So storage na siya. Storage na rin siya. No? So usually 1 terabyte RAM, then storage namin mga, ayun no, nakita mo, 10 terabyte. 10 terabyte. Ang laki, ang laki. Okay? So you save a lot of money and a small footprint. Okay? So I'm supporting Nutanix. I also introduced yung Nutanix course sa Philippines pero no one enrolled kasi it's kind of new. Na hindi pa nila alam what is Nutanix. So if you're gonna Google ano ba yung Nutanix architecture. So it's a Linux-based operating system. So this is a Nutanix. Yeah. Typical structure. So isang hypervisor meaning isang Dell XC40 kung nga napakadaming virtual machine. Boot drive solid state. Kita nyo ba? Late boot drive solid state, the rest are hard drive. So meron siyang controller VM. It's a storage controller which replicate one server to another hypervisor. So it's a compute power, networking, and storage all in one. One U lang. Galing na. Hybrid. Okay, so it's 2019 support HCI now. Okay. Another thing is it has the dupe, meaning it removes the duplicate file, hence saves more the space of the REFS. So previously wala silang dedupe sa REFS. And you can scale out. Okay, scale out. Previously, I think you can scale out 8, 16, or 32. Now you can scale out more, meaning you can multiply the number of Windows 2019. And then another feature, it has threat protection, which is a host intrusion prevention. So when you say host intrusion prevention, may passive and active. Now, passive, examine the packet as it arrives. And prevention, it drop the packet once detected that it has a signature of malware. And compatible na siya sa core. Okay, yung without desktop experience, yung para Linux. You can convert with desktop experience in one command lang. Deployment, there are many options. You can deploy using DVD. So you purchase the DVD, then put in DVD drive, then boot from DVD. Another option is boot from ISO. Boot from USB, you need Rufus. Download from Rufus, then burn the ISO to USB. Then boot from USB. You can install na Windows. Na? So the first project, we will build using PowerShell. So you will create virtual hard drive first, and then we're going to install the Windows operating system to virtual hard drive, then perform post-installation task. Okay, so that's my first lab. I'm going to demonstrate now. So as I mentioned kanina, we have parent. So if you go cdvm, you will see one directory. It's called parent. Parent contains the mother drive. So what is dirt? What is parent? So parent is the master, contains master operating system. So meron na siyang Windows 219. Okay? We're gonna create a child virtual hard drive, and we're just going to connect into parent drive. Okay? We're just going to connect. So the moment you boot up, there is operating system. Okay? Then we're gonna create 3 servers, which is server 1, server 2, server 3. So that's the first project. Now, how do you open the script? So just go File, Labs, C:labs, and I put it in text file so you don't execute. So once executed, it will run straight away. Huh? Careful, careful. So please, as much as possible, use administrator and password is one welcome. Okay, so these are the steps. These are the steps. So I'll explain to you one by one. So first, CD meaning change directory. Go to VM. VM is the folder which contains virtual machine. So we're gonna create 3 folders. How do CLS clear screen? MD meaning make directory of server 1. Okay? So ayan, tapos na. So we created folder 1. The folder name is server 1 as you can see. Then we're gonna create server 2. I just press cursor up. Then you have folder server 2, folder server 3. And check the folder. We created 3 folders. Okay? So task 1 is finished. We're gonna create virtual hard drive. So what is virtual hard drive? It's like a hard drive. Now, which contains the operating system, contains the data, and so on. So what's the command to create a virtual hard drive? So why do we need to create VHD? Kasi we're gonna put the operating system. Okay? We're gonna boot from this hard drive. So this is the hard drive of the first server, second, and third. So I'll make the command to create that one is new VHD. Okay? If you notice, why there's no command VHD? Okay? Meaning, it will error. You will find error. So you have to interpret the error. Part of the troubleshooting or part of the reason why they're paying you $100 an hour, let's say, for example, $100 an hour. The reason why they're paying you a lot of money, because you can solve, you can do troubleshooting for them, no? Let's say problem, there will be a lot of problems, no? Problems. There will be a lot of problem ticket, okay? Ticket. Sa IBM, ang problem ticket, sabihin na lang nating $50 per ticket. In one day, let's say you solve 20 tickets. 20 tickets, okay? This is how managed services works, no? So magkano yan? So how much is this? Oh, let's say $50 bayad ng Cebu Pacific, for example, or Commonwealth Bank. Commonwealth Bank. No, let's say what bank do you know? Let's say Westpac Banking. It's a bank here in Australia. Now, so they charge Westpac $1,000. $1,000. Actually, hindi lang 1,000 eh. No? So, usually if you have 10, sige sabihin natin, $1,000 per engineer. Per engineer pa lang yan. That's only per engineer. No? But you don't solve only 20 tickets. If you have, let's say 10 Active Directory specialist. Sabihin natin tech support. Sige, tech support. Let's say tech support. Level 3. And they have a problem ticket na 100. How much is that? No, 100 tickets a day, 100 problem, 100 error times $50. That's 5,000 a day. No? With 10 engineers. Okay? That's why malaki sweldo nyo. That's why you have a high paying job. $5,000. Magkano yan? So that means problem. Ano ba yung mga problem? Error. Okay? Error, not working. Sir, not working. Sabi mo, thank God. Okay, not working. Kasi if things are working perfectly, wala kayong work. Wala kayong pera. You don't have a breakfast. You don't have lunch. Pag nakakita kayo ng error, what should be your mindset? Thank God, there's an error, not working, thank God. Okay, so ito yung first problem. This is our first problem. Ganun mindset, we should have that kind of mindset. So, ang dami errors. So it's so slow, slow. Slow is equal, money yan, money. Not working, equal, uh, uh, equal dinner. May pan-dinner na kaya sa Okada, okay? Not working. So, ito yung hinahanap natin. This is the one we're looking for. Like this one, not working. So, why is not working? Ano ibig sabihin yan? Dinner. No? In Sofitel, kung nga. So, when you see this one, what will be our mindset from now on? Thank God it's not working. Kasi, pag may problem, may pera. That's why may pera tayo ngayon. Okay? So, not working. So, you need to interpret. So, as a tech support, what you need to do. So, you need to resolve this. Okay? Okay? From now on, you need to resolve this. You need to read. Not recognized. So, let's translate in Pinoy. Not recognized. Hindi niya maintindihan. Okay? Ibig sabihin, does not exist. Okay? Bakit does not exist? Kasi hindi pa tayo nag-install ng Hyper-V. We have installed Hyper-V. Okay? So, we need to install. Do not forget, this is the first step. This is the first step. Install Windows feature, Hyper-V, include management tool. So, I'll tell you what is Hyper-V. Hyper-V is the hypervisor which manage the resource such as compute, network, and storage. The one I discussed you into virtualization. Another example, Hyper-V is the translator of physical to virtual. Another example is the the um, the the uh, the hyperconverged can be shared into multiple resources. They could be sharing. So let's say you have 4 CPU, can be shared among 32 servers. Okay? Okay. Include management tools. Yeah, you need to include this one. So you can have GUI. So you have desktop experience. So you can have management, like when you click this one, there's a management tool. Okay. Okay. Without this, you won't be able to know what are the tools. Okay. So that's the command. Now, if you want manual, some students are asking, sir, how do you install manual Hyper-V? So it's like this. Excuse me. Click Windows, Server Manager. Okay, these are the role you want to install. Add roles. Click Next. And then there are two options. First is the server. And if you want to install in desktop, this is for desktop, you select the second option. Since our topic is server, not about desktop, I'm going to select the first one, which means I'm going to add role. Okay. And then where do you want to add roles? I want to add the role in this server. Okay. So you will be seeing multiple server if you have lots of server. So what do you want to install? I want to install Hyper-V. Okay, Hyper-V. So these are the management tool. Remember, we have this command. Install Windows feature. The name of the role is Hyper-V minus include management tool. So what are the management tool? This is the management tool. So let's call it RSAT. RSAT means remote server admin tool. So it will install PowerShell. Kasi a while ago, right, we're missing the new VHD command. It's not running. So because the PowerShell is not yet installed. Okay? Plus the GUI, the graphical user interface. Every time you install, there should be a RSAT or management. There's a lot of thing called here. It's called RSAT management tool. Okay, do not forget that one. Add features. Click next. Click next. That's all we need to do. Do not select Ethernet. Okay, because we're gonna convert this one into switch later. And then allow the do not allow. So just plain select. I'm accepting default settings. Restart the server if needed. So this will be restarted for changes to take effect. So why do you need to restart? For changes to take effect. You might be wondering, sir, I've been disconnected because the server restarted. Okay. So it will do the usual installation started, blah, blah, blah. It's installing RSAT, PowerShell, and the GUI. Okay. Remember, you need to reboot this one. It will install PowerShell, Arsa, then wait for a while. Be patient. Oh, yun, nag-restart. Okay? Automatically, you are disconnected because nga, we selected restart. No? Some students are wondering, sir, I'm disconnected. And then, wait for a few seconds, like 30 seconds.
Ilaw lahat, pero bakit ayaw kumunik?
Baka nakapatay din yung ano.
Yung switch?
Oo.
May ilaw nga lahat, bukas lahat.
Remove mo
Sandali,
siya.
mute ko lang kayo.
Tapos
Sandali,
pag ina-admin password,
mamute ko lang kayo.
ayaw.
Kaya hindi ko kayo makita. Please put silent.
Naka-ano yan, nakabukas yung mga computer.
We can hear you.
Ang nakita lang sa timer.
Kaya hindi ko kayo ma-mute. Ayun, yun. Sorry, I'm gonna mute you all.
Sorry.
It's okay po. It's okay. Okay, na-mute ba ako? Can you hear me? Hindi ako naka-mute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm connecting now to my Hyper-V. Be patient. During first boot, it will install and copy a lot of files. So you will experience lag. And that's normal. Okay, so you have to be patient. You will be rebooting at the same time for all 76 students. Oh my God. 76 students. There's a lot of students for about 7. Sabay, at the same time, you will be rebooting tomorrow. Okay? You'll experience lag. So don't be surprised why it's slow. Huh? We have about 4 hosts. 4 hosts, host 1, host 2, host 3. There's another one which recently purchased. Okay, so be patient. And then a lot of people are asking here, kahit po sa lower OS, yeah, it's just the same. It wouldn't work in 2012. It will work in 2016, some of the Powershell. Kahit brief explanation lang po, ano po bang pinagkaiba ng Hyper-V sa cloud? Hyper-V is on-prem data center virtualization. Ang cloud is public service, which means available and hosted to someone else, no, third-party provider. Pas thank God pera. Kailangan mo ng VPN to connect. No need for VPN. Sa 2000 yan. Yeah, 2000. Wala username ko po. Alfie, are you here? I'll add Alfie. Alfie. So dito ka, Alfie. Are you here, Alfie? Caesar. Okay. So shall I give this one to you? Okay, you can access this allocation. Please put if you are present. Ganun lang. So these are attendance. So how do you access this? Just go to next.ph, our website, /win. Win. Don't worry, nagbabago yan. And then you will see your name and your allocation. Okay, allocation. Say si Ernesto 343361. So this is batch 1 and may batch 2, which will start September 1. If you want to edit, no, just click edit. Okay, edit. This is our attendance. Please put present if you are present. Okay, present. O yun, so may AG na. Sino yan? Si Arwin San Gabriel. Ito ka, Arwin. No? So if the spelling of your name is wrong, please update. Okay. So how do you go there? It's really simple. Just go to next.ph/win. Okay? Next.ph/win. Please do not change your classmate's name, ha? Baka magbago yung pangalan. Okay, tapos na ba? Oh my God, it's starting. Let's wait for a while. So while waiting, please update your name.
Sir, question.
Go ahead, sir.
Sir, holiday po bukas. Then nakasked ako ng September 1 to 3. Pwede yung 1 day ko i-start ko tomorrow. Then continue ko yung 2 days ko. If may vacant na host and port bukas.
Bukas? Actually, bukas talaga to.
Yes, sir. Pero nakaschedule ako ng September 1 to 3.
Yeah. Kasi mga late enrollee, they put it here kasi wala nang available.
Pwede ba yun, sir? If may vacant bukas.
Sir, nakamute.
Wala. We can't hear you.
Sorry, nakamute pala ako. I was saying, yung we have maxed out the number of servers. So if someone back out, no, I'll let you know. Pero I'm not sure kung may magba-back out dyan. So if you want to install in your own computer, you only need 6 gig RAM. Now install Hyper-V, then you can, kahit sa Windows 10, you can install Hyper-V in Windows 10. So how do you install Windows Hyper-V? So just type control, okay, for whoever who want to install Hyper-V in your Windows 10. You can do this in your laptop, okay? So control, programs. If you can see, turn Windows features on or off. Okay, and then you will see Hyper-V. Can you see this one, Hyper-V? Just select this one. And then reboot. Reboot. You can do this on your own anytime you want. Okay. You have Hyper-V na. That's all you need. That's all you need. So you don't have to follow the schedule. But I want you to put present. If you're present, huh? How do you edit? Click editing. Click editing. And then once available, yun, present. Dami. Present. So if I see something Jadi hindi present, I'll give this slot to someone else. Or Ramil, I'll give it to someone else. Okay? Kasi
Hello, sir.
iba hindi available.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Paano yung mag-access sa site, sir? Next
Yan,
platform.
sa chat natin, I put the website, how to access. Ito, ayan. Just scroll up.
Okay.
Next
Kita ko na, sir.
ph.win. And then please, when you do, actually you can do the lab mamaya after nito. Kasi I'm gonna give this one to you now, later. So just put project 1 completed, project 2 completed, project 3 completed. I just want to know the status, no? Kasi nga guaranteed learning. I want to make sure everyone learns, okay?
So yung present ba ngayon yan?
Sorry, Alen?
Yung present na nakalagay ngayon yan?
Yeah. That means they're here.
Yung JATI file ko na sir, nandito eh.
Sorry, ano yan?
Yung JATI file ko na sinabi mo. Ni-mention mo kasi ako eh.
Jadibal. Sorry, what's that? You're there. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have to refresh this one kasi hindi pa to updated. So
Pero gamit ko ibang email kasi baka kaya hindi nag-ano dyan.
Yeah, that's okay. You can log in anyone. Anyone can log in. Just put
Ba't
present.
sa akin wala pa?
Edit. You mean your name is not here? Anong name? Ano yung name, bossing?
William Moore.
Villamore? Kailan nag-enroll? Kailan po kayo nag-enroll? Ayun, no? Villaflor?
William Moore. 3367 nakita ko.
3367, 3367. This one.
Ayan, yan.
Nandiyan
Pero
ka.
hindi pa ako present.
Lagay mo present. Hindi. Re-refresh ko. Hindi lang ako refresh.
Hindi pa ako naka-access dyan.
Click editing. So, they'll be viewing. Click editing. Yan. Okay, let's move on. Paano ma-access test environment? Explain ko later. Kasi if I give now, you wouldn't listen here. So, makinig muna tayo. So, tapos na ba? Restarting. Okay, be patient, ha? Restarting. So, I'll explain the project 1. So, tapos na yan eh. So, lesson 2 na tayo. So, what is Windows PowerShell? While waiting, Windows PowerShell is a command line shell and scripting language created by Microsoft, which allows you to automate tasks. So what is PowerShell? To automate tasks. So don't define anything else because it will be confusing. No? Task automation. What do you automate? You automate deployment, you automate installation, you automate creation of users, you automate configuration management, change of the, and so on. Millions of tasks. If you're doing manual tasks, it's kind of slow and difficult. Okay, so I'm telling you, most of the engineers, instead of hiring 4 engineers, they'd rather hire one intelligent one because it's cheaper. They can do the task of 4 engineers. Okay. Now, what are the tools of this DevOps? Well, PowerShell, number 1, PowerCLI, Java, YAML, JSON, Docker, ang dami, so many things. Windows PowerShell command lets execute PowerShell command prompt or combine into script. So what is script? Script's combination of commandlet. What is commandlet? Commandlet is one-liner PowerShell command. Commandlets are small command, which is one line, which perform just one task. Scripts perform multiple tasks. Okay, easy to understand, right? Commandlets can be piped, meaning can be joined, can be aggregated to perform multiple operations. Let's say task number 1, create a virtual hard drive. Task number 2, power on the virtual machine. Task number 3, change the IP address. Okay, multiple tasks. Modules. What are modules? Modules commandlets specific to a product are packaged together and install as module. Remember a while ago when I tried new VHD, there's an error because I haven't installed the modules, which means every time you do installation, you have to make sure that the module is installed. Okay, what module was not installed? Hyper-V. Okay, that's why I installed Hyper-V. Okay, tagal naman restarting. So modules, some are installed, default installed, some are not. So I need to add manually. What is ICE? ICE, Integrated Shell Environment. Okay, so 1 sec, I'm just gonna examine the Hyper-V. I'm just gonna check the server. Connect lang ako sa cloud. Okay, so after reboot, you should be seeing Hyper-V by typing virtmgmt.msc. Then click launch, or you can create a shortcut. So if you click, again, there's another way to open. Click Windows Start, and then if you cannot find it, should be under Hyper-V, under Windows Explorer. Okay, more, open file location. In Hyper-V, right click, send to desktop. Okay, gets ya? So I created a shortcut, so you don't have to type virtmgmt. So this is Hyper-V. What is Hyper-V? It translates the physical resources. It shares the resources such as CPU, compute, network, and storage. So we gonna create storage. So this is the console. This is the name of my Hyper-V. All virtual machine will be appearing here, and these are the checkpoints or snapshots, meaning backup, but it's not really backup. If you want to revert back to the original settings, just go to checkpoints. Am I mute? Can you hear me? And details if the service booting up. Then these are the networking. So the first thing you need to do is create a switch. Remember kanina? We need to create switch, okay? And then we're gonna create storage, and then we're gonna create the server using CPU. My question dito. No, you don't download Hyper-V. Hyper-V is free. So I already shown you how to install Hyper-V. You don't need to download, okay? So please listen carefully. And don't worry, this is recorded. You can replay. So habang upload videos, yes, upload natin video. Actually, marami kaming past lesson. Marami kaming past lesson nasa YouTube na. Uploaded na. No? Ito. Punta lang kayo dito sa YouTube namin. Next Society Training Center. Like, share, and subscribe videos. And playlist. May playlist dito ng Windows. You can see this one. Fundamentals. Napakadami. Windows. Then from the very beginning, module 1, module 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, napakadami. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you will get the latest module. Okay? It's available. Okay? Ayun, tama si Justin. If you want to install sa Windows 10, Windows 11, mahirap ang Windows 11. I'm gonna stick to Windows 10. Control panel, turn on Windows feature, yun lang. Okay. And if you want to know how do you do that, just replay this video tomorrow. Okay? So, going back to the topic, first thing you need to enable, listen, please, listen, a switch. Remember, wala tayong switch. Go to Virtual Switch Manager. So, what are the virtual switch? So, there are 3 types of virtual switches. External, if you want to connect the virtual machine to the internet. Okay? So, it creates a virtual switch. So, gagawa siyang switch which connects to your network card, and your NIC will connect to your switch. Hence, you have a direct connect to the internet. Internal, only communication from host. This is host. This is our host, which you will be given. From now on, let's call host. What is the host? Host will contain all your virtual machines. Okay? So this is the host. So internal switch can connect host to virtual machine. Private VM to VM only, which means server 1 can only communicate to server 2 and 3, but cannot communicate to host, and there's no communication to the outside world. Okay? Kinig kayo. Oh, again. What is external? Justin? Anybody? So from time to time, I'm doing reality check.
If you're going to connect from the internet,
Galing yan ang Nexus student. Yan ang Nexus student. Okay. Earl, what is internal switch? Internal. Or si Harold na lang, Harold. Si James. How about James? What is internal switch? Actually, ito niya, no? Create switch from physical to the virtual. Meaning, sorry, ito ba? Internal meaning connection between host and virtual machine. Okay? Private VM to VM. Again. External connects to internet. Tama. Justin, tama. Private VM to VM, internal host to VM. Okay? So, we're gonna create. Ito, maraming naliligaw. A lot of people get lost. What do we need to create? We need communication between the host and the virtual machine. So I'm gonna select internal. Okay? Internal, huh? Then the name of the switch should be Nexus Switch, because the one I created in our script is Nexus Switch. If you, so let's say let's open PowerShell, run as admin, and it's under labs, and it's not PowerShell, it's written in text format, so you won't accidentally execute the command. So this is our first project. Okay, so we're gonna create a VM, create VM that will connect to the Nexus switch. So if you did not name this as Nexus switch, you're gonna have lots of problems. Okay, so stick to the constant, meaning constant defined Nexus switch. Okay, so we have a switch. So how do you check the adapter? Get net adapter. The name of adapter is Ethernet. Okay, Ethernet 0. Then I just created a switch. What's the name of the switch? Nexus switch. All right,
yes, sir.
that's how you check. 10 gigabit. Oh my God. Question.
Sorry to cut you off, sir.
That's okay.
Regarding the sa may GUI na pinakita mo how to create a switch, do we have any option there to also enable VLANs or if
Teka,
you
hindi ko
want to
ma-
separate?
Sorry, nasa yung volume ko. Sorry, ang hina ng volume. Sandali. How do I get us sa volume? Ba't kasi nandito yung volume ko? Ay, kaya pala. Hello, hello? Yeah, sorry, can you say again?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Ayan, yan, yan.
Okay.
Naku, na-record yata sa iba yung mic. Okay, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So, for the switch creation, yung pinakita mo kanina, dun din ba makikita yung VLAN for every switch if you wanna, segregate yung nick o yung setting for this VM and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah, you can see it here since I created a virtual switch manager, internal. So these are the options, internal. And if you want to enable VLAN,
Oh,
let's
okay.
say for traffic to be isolated in VLAN 100, let's say management VLAN, you can do so. Okay.
Okay.
But you have to add all the VM to VLAN 100. So that's a good answer.
Okay.
So as of now, wala mo ng VLAN, flat. Okay, flat. But it's a good practice to have VLAN to isolate the broadcast. Okay, so what is broadcast? CCNA ko di-discuss. Ako di ko muna discuss dito. Okay, so we have a switch. How do you verify the switch? Get net adapter. Okay, positive. Another way to verify is by going to control panel. Go to networking. So initially you only have a network card which connected to the Ethernet, and initially that's only. After creating the switch, you will get this one. Okay. So we have a switch. Next, we have to create a hard drive. Remember a while ago, we don't have the new VHD is not working, right? Because the module was not installed. Now let's verify if the module is installed. Ayun. Excuse me. So install in PowerShell. Okay? PowerShell for Hyper-V. Okay. If you don't have to take notes at the moment, if you want to take notes, it's up to you. But this is recorded. Okay, and we have more than 10 recorded session, similar topic. Okay, so change directory to the virtual machine, and there should be since I switched to another server kasi, so nawala dito yung, I lost the 3 servers, 3 folders. How do you create 3 folder? You can just copy this. No? Same task over and over. Done. Okay, tapos na. So the second thing we need to do is create hard drive. Okay, if you cannot see, I'll try to make it larger, adjustable. This is adjustable. Do not read books muna. I'm explaining stuff. Okay, so we're gonna create the hard drive. Hard drive. The command is new VHD. Did you notice? It's autocomplete. Okay? Autocomplete. Ulitin ko. I'll repeat. New. What do you want to type? VHD. So PowerShell usually start with verb. So if you want to add, you type add, action word. If you want to install, action word. Action word. No? If you want to remove, action word. Okay. If you want to create new, what do you want? What new you want to create? I want to create virtual hard drive. Okay. Press space bar. Option switch. What's the name of the virtual hard drives? Just you can type name straight away. Okay. So that's how you construct PowerShell commandlet. And then computer name or either name, pwede rin a name. Now, what will be the name of the server? Server 1. Okay. Again, what is the name of the server? Server 1. And then how much memory? So dito, you don't have to think. Just the option will be presented to you. So what are the options? How do you display the option? Press space bar. Type hyphen. So these are the options. You don't even need the book because all the options are here. And it's very self-explanatory. What are path? Path is the location, parent path of the mother operating system, size bytes, size of the hard drive. Okay. So now I'm going to define the memory startup bytes. Sorry. I'm dito pa lang pala ako. Okay. New server 1. Sorry, new VHD. I'm gonna create VHD under the path of VM. It's autocomplete. See? Press enter. What will be the name of the hard drive? Name of the hard drive will be /server1, of course. and VHDX. VHDX meaning dynamically expanding as the demand grows. No? Okay, then close. So that's how you create virtual hard drive. That drive will be mounted to a parent. Parent contains the mother operating system. Okay,
Sir, excuse me.
go
Hindi po
ahead.
ba case sensitive yung ano, yung
Hindi
mga
naman.
okay lang po yan.
Okay lang yan, yes.
Okay,
Password
thank
lang
you.
case sensitive.
Okay.
So if you can see, if I type hash, automatic, it will be presented to you. So you want, so minimal ang error. Usually the error will be typographical. Okay? So this will create virtual hard drive. So that's done. We created a virtual hard drive with 4 kilobytes size. File size is 4 gig yata. No? Location is this one and the name of the computer. Okay? So to physically examine, just go to a VM server 1. That's the hard drive. Okay, so we created the hard drive, initially 4 megabyte. And will expand dynamically. That's why it's called VHTX as the data grows. So I'll show you when the data grows. Okay. Now, to automate this thing, we're going to be using the same code. Okay, so it's an infrastructure as a code, meaning you can build this infrastructure by recycling the code. We can build server 2, server 3 by using the same code, different variables. Okay, so all you need to do is change the variable from server 1 to server 2. That's all. Napakadali. It's an easy task. Okay, so one good thing about infra as a code is you can build server quickly. Okay, so that's it. So I have 3 hard drives. Okay, 3 hard drives. Since we have a hard drive, I'm gonna create a virtual machine. If you notice, there's no virtual machine. So I'm gonna create quickly. No? So listen, this is gonna happen so quick. You will see the virtual machine up and running. Up and running. How that happened? So how do you create? So I'm gonna explain one by one the command to create a new virtual machine, new VM. Those are the switches. Can you see the switches? Generation, boot device, path, long, what else? What else? Paulit-ulit lang yan. New VM, I'm just following this. Okay, new VM, the name of the virtual machine. It will be server 1. I'm gonna assign memory, startup bytes, meaning initially it will have 4 gigabyte. Okay, that's 4 gig, 2 gigabyte. And where is the location of the virtual hard drive? I'm gonna point to C colon. Remember the VM located in server 1 folder, and we created the VHDX. You know, automatic. If it doesn't appear, just press back. No, press back. New VM. Name of the VM. Server 1. Yung mga nagchat-chat, please use your mic na kasi I'm looking in 3 monitors. I cannot see all. You can speak up. Location of VHD path is under C colon. See, autocomplete. The path, server 1, the name of the VHDX. Hindi lumabas, diba? It didn't appear. Back, press slash. There you go. Okay? And then attach the virtual machine to a switch called Nexus switch. Remember, we created a switch. And this VM will be attached to Nexus switch. Okay. Enter. We created the VM. So this is the VM. Server 1 is off. Edit. 2 gig RAM, 1 CPU. So it's gonna be slow. Later, I'm gonna use PowerShell to automate this thing to have 2 CPU, and memory will be dynamic. Why do you need dynamic? So you can save a lot of memory. Try to imagine if you have 6 gig times 10, 60 gigabyte. Utilize. If you enable dynamic, no, it will tame down probably to 512. So you can share other memory to other customers. Okay, so that's why dynamic. Okay, so I will do that one programmatically, but I've shown you how to do it manually. Okay, so ganun ang tema. Manual, automatic. Manual, automation. Manual, automation. Ganun. Okay, let's do it automatically. So let's say, for example, I find the virtual machine to be slow. So I'm going to increase and set the VM. Can you see the switch? Those are the switch. What VM you want to modify? The name of the VM is server 1, right? I would like to increase the processor count from 1 to 2. Okay. Then startup bytes to be 2 gigabyte, 2048 gigabyte. MB, okay? Then I want dynamic memory. I already explained what is dynamic. Huh? Dynamic. So the dynamic memory will be starting bytes is 512 only. Meaning if there are no services running, you can trim down the RAM to 512. Then it can go up to a maximum of memale. Something wrong. Because if you can see the format, usually typographical error. Because I'm typing as I explained. So if you do this one, something's wrong. So you have to go back to the script. Check the name of the script. Okay, let's check. So set VM, server 1, processor 2, memory startup bytes, dynamic memory. Tama naman. Memory minimum bytes, 512. Maximum byte, tama naman. So let's press enter. O, tama pala. So what happened? I increased the CPU to 2. Oh, can you see that? Initially it was 1. And enable dynamic starting from 512. Okay. Next, we have to start the VM. The command is very simple. Try to imagine I'm starting your server, 80 server at the same time. Now, so this is the command. What do you want to start? The name of the server. If you can see, off. If you can see, there's nothing here, nothing booting up. Okay. So once I started, you will see it's booting up. Okay. The first thing you'll do, attach, then boot up. And enter, running. You can see running. You can see from here, booting up. You can see, you can connect to the console. So this is the console. It's trying to attach to the parent. And since it's attaching, it's trying to copy server 1, copy to our differential drive. You can see expanding. That's why it's VHDX, dynamic expanding, since it's copying minor configuration to the VHDX. Okay. But the parent OS is already there. Kita nyo? You can see it's increasing. So that's why it's called VHDX, dynamically expanding. So you have to wait until it's finished. And with 70 students expanding at the same time, you will experience lag. Okay, don't worry, yung lag na yan will be during installation. Pero once installed, it will be much faster. 2 gigabyte copied. So this is the difference from the master. Okay. So post installation, you have to do post installation. Just click next. Do this later. Skip the product key. You only have 3 days anyway. Accept the license. And password. Please do not deviate. One welcome bang. Okay. So I can log into your machine. So I can log into your machine and help you troubleshoot. If you don't know the password, that's going to be a problem. Okay. Finish. That's it. You have your Windows operating system. Okay. So we have one server up and running. Now, what are we going to do with the rest? So we have to build 2 more. Remember in project 1, we need to build server 1, 2, 3. Okay. So ito na. As part of DevOps team, I'm going to automate everything. Okay. For easier deployment and quick deployment. So just run this one. Remember, we don't have hard drive. Okay, run this one. Infra as a code. You build using code. Okay, nag-error siya. Nag-error. So you have to read this one. Again.
Create ka na kanina, sir.
Naka-create na ako. Yung duplicate. Usually, duplicate copy. Sorry. Yan. So that's okay. Yan. Ayun, no? Meron na. Naka-create na pala ako. Thank you. Yun na. So sabi dito, interpret natin. Failed to create. Basta hanapin nyo, duplicate. Exist already. Okay. Sometimes, ang error will not give you an exact scenario. Kasi may duplicate. Hindi niya sinabi. Duplicate copy. Hindi ko makita. No. Ganun, So, the error is the file already exists. Yun ang error. Okay, so next, we're gonna create the server 2 and 3 and power on at the same time.
Sir, sa PowerShell ba, pwede ka mag-run ng command sa yung multiple line?
Yeah, that's called script. So, ayan, 2, 3. So, up and running, 2 and 3. Oops, nag-error. Ba't nag-error yung 3? Okay, do not be surprised bakit ayaw mag-power on kasi sabay-sabay ko ginawa. Okay? So, naubusin siya ng RAM. Sabi dito, run out of memory. So, you have to be patient. You have to wait until this one is up and running. You can see, it went to 6 megabyte. Okay? And server 2, it's booting up. That's why it maxed out the RAM. So, booting up pa yan. If you right-click console, booting up. Okay? So, be patient. And then, wait for a few seconds kasi maubusan ka ng RAM. Then, you can start right away. Okay? A few seconds. Okay? Yun, no? Can you see that? Can you see that one? Okay, two server at the same time. Now we're gonna leave this one since it's booting up. Okay, that's done. So we have 3 servers. 1, 2, 3. Provisioning. Later on, they'll be finished and we're gonna do post-installation task. Go ahead.
Sa pag-install mo ng VM, kailan pa ba ng installer? Or ikakopy niya lang yung sa parent niya?
Yun nga, we have 3 options. Kakopy mo lang sa parents. So we have 2 options. You can boot up from DVD or you can boot up from USB na may ISO that has an ISO using Rufus. The one I created is using Hyper-V. So we have a master. We just attach to the master.
Okay, sir.
Yan. So post-installation task, you have to put an IP address, remember? Back to the drawing board. We need to put that 21, 22, and 23. Okay? So that's our project. So skip this part. You don't need a license. This is good for 60 days. Accept. Put the password. Same thing.
Sir, question, do we have the list of the errors dun sa reference book natin? Or is this something
Wala.
available sa Google?
The error can be interpreted by when you read this one. And usually, if you want to Google, it's very easy. So just copy this one. Ganun lang na. Copy mo yan. Google mo na yan. Ano naman Google? Okay. List of error. There are millions of errors. It's easy to understand since we are only in basic. So let's say gusto mong i-Google. Yeah, it's okay. Google. Wala kasing browser. Should be using Windows 10. So this one will ask a lot of questions because I'm using server. So not enough memory. Yeah, should present to you by Microsoft. Usually I go to Microsoft knowledge base. Hanapin yung Microsoft. Look for Microsoft. But there's so many error. Yeah, not enough memory. So it will tell you. Okay. Answers, not enough memory. Yeah. So it's easy to understand. Walang memory. Yun lang. But if you cannot interpret, it's better to Google. Okay. Remember, Google, Microsoft database, they kept on updating every day. So there might be errors that you haven't encountered. So it's okay. Even if you're level 4 engineer, you Google. Okay, it's not written in the book because book will be outdated. KB, normally KB is updated every seconds. Hundreds of database. What can be true today, tomorrow it's different story. So that's why they keep on updating. Okay, so we have 3 server finish. So we're gonna be doing post installation tasks. I'm gonna go to server 1. And the first task is put IP address. Okay, dito you have to be patient. If you log in at the same time, actually it's fast na. Our server is using NVMe with 3 gigabyte per sec transfer rate. This is the fastest you can have. It's faster than a physical server. And then computer IP address. How do you put IP address? Just go to a network card. So I'm doing manual thing, manual. Go to Ethernet, put IP address. Then that one, sorry. Then that one, sorry. Okay, subnet mask /8. Default gateway. DNS will be itself. That's why 21. So 21 is for server 1. Okay.
Hello po, question po.
Go ahead.
Out of nowhere lang, yung difference mo ng IPv4 versus IPv6.
IPv6 is 128-bit addressing, which can give you more trillions of trillions IP addresses. IPv4 is 32-bit, which can give you 4.3 billion IP addresses. Okay. They're running out of IPv4 since it's limited to 3 billion only. And each user is having 2 devices. So eventually they run out of IPv4. And when you power on your cell phone, you can see you have IPv6 because it can cater to trillions of IP services. Right?
So yung DNS ng 10.2.22.
Ayun, mali. Galing. So yeah, no? He has a keen eye. I intentionally put the wrong DNS. 21 ang ating DNS. Okay? Our DNS will be 21. Server 1. Server 3, 23. All right. 21. Test. Wait. We need to rename the server. How do you rename? Right click. Did you see that? Right click. Server 1. Rename. Server 1. Okay. Then reboot. So you only have 2 tasks. Put IP address. Put IP address. Rename. Reboot. Tatlo pala. 3 tasks. Again. Put IP address. Rename. Right click. System. 3 tasks. You notice it didn't hang. It just waiting for threads to become available. Queuing. It's queuing. Okay. Server 2. Reboot. That's all. Server 3. Right click. Start bar. System. It's queuing. It's not hanging. It's queuing. Well, actually hanging. It's just the same. Rename. This will happen tomorrow. Huh? You are about 70 students. Server 3. Sanity check. You have to always check from the console because it'll be confusing. Which one is 1, 2, or 3? You check from the console. This is console. Okay. So, how do you log in? Click Control Alt Del. Okay. So you have to be patient. Just wait, because it's rebooting. log into just one, server one, okay? And try to ping. Naka-on ba camera ko? We are about 79 students. Ang dami ah. Where's the cam? I'm looking for cam.
Sir, question lang.
Go ahead.
Going back. Ano yung mga modules na kailangan natin i-install when creating the virtual or the Hyper-V?
Yun, yung kanina na-discuss ko. When creating a virtual machine, you mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here in our lab, yun mga kailangan. Yung the one I explain. Saan na ba yun? So we have Sonic Client module. We install Windows feature, remember? Manual, ginawa, I created using manual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have to replay back this video. Okay. So that's the first one. Now, if you notice it's not responding, all you need to do is repeat the command, include. I'm looking for include. Ayaw lumabas. So sometimes it happen. Include management tools. Tama ba? So it will say completed kasi it's already been installed. Okay, it's already installed. So that's the PowerShell version. Next, you need to create the folder. Next, you have to create the, that's why saying said, no change needed. Is it successful? Yes. Do you need to restart? No, because it's already installed manually. So ganun step. Step 1, install Windows feature. Install Hyper-V. Step 2, create folder. So I think these are the stuff we need to do. Create hard drive. Step 3, create virtual machine. Step 4, create a virtual machine and power on. Then step 7, log into the VM using this credential. Next step is change the IP address. Okay? Talagang step by step. You wouldn't get lost. Okay?
Right,
So
sir.
if you want to elevate the level, not necessarily. So you can have a God mode. Okay? Elevation of level. If you wanna change the time zone to Philippine, kasi as of now, it's showing 10:52. What time in Philippines right now?
10:52. 8:52.
8:52, no? So this is Australian time zone.
8:52.
So I'm gonna change to Australia, Philippine. Tama. 8:52. Kita nyo? Can you see the time? Can you see it?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nag-change. So this is the command to, and if you wanna rename the computer, congratulations, you have installed Windows 2019. Okay, I'm doing post installation. I jump into server 1, as you can see. Server 1. I'm gonna ping 2 and 3. So ping server 1. Sorry, tama, server 1 is mine. Now disable IPv4 kasi pang palitan. This will confuse you. No, disable IPv4 if you want to. If not, that's okay. Ping server 2. I want to make sure up and running all the 3 servers. Huh? You cannot ping. Ay!
Nakakaps yung S.
Not enough memory. So you have to check. No, it should have 6 gig. 6 gig ako. 6 gig. Okay. But ako not enough memory. This is only like 1.5, 4.7. Yeah, there's memory. So let's check the setting. 1.5 only. Yeah, you should start. What about this? Settings. Let's make this 1 gig. So how do you change the RAM? So troubleshoot, troubleshoot niya. So first you have to shut down. Kasi we need server 2 eh. Start. Uy, that's weird. I need to reboot. So if that thing happened, you have to reboot everything. But anyway, we perform all the post-installation tasks. So that's all you need. You have to put IP address. You have to put IP address and rename the computer and then reboot. That's all. So that's module 1. Any question about module 1?
None so far, sir.
Okay, I already explained RSAT. Okay, so we're gonna go for a break. Let's go for a 10-minute break, and we're gonna resume after the break. Module 2, Active Directory Administration. So first lesson, we need to learn what is AD, Forest Domain Replication, Sign-in Process, Replication Process. So AD composed of both logical and physical. AD meaning Active Directory, Directory Services. They have logical component which taken from the physical component. Like DC, they have 4 partitions. DC has a database schema, meaning the structure of that database such as columns and rows. That columns and rows in conjunction with the data store which stores the database. So isa-isa natin, we're going to discuss one by one. So first of all, what is ADDS? ADDS, okay? ADDS object composed of users, groups, and computers. So if I mention objects, automatically these are users, groups, and computers. User is the unique person, unique employee, single entity. Group is a combination of multiple users, multiple aggregated identity. Computer objects, these are computers, servers, laptops, and other devices. In group objects, there are 2 types, security and distribution. The difference between the two, distribution normally used in email blasting, no permission. Security, there's a security identifier using hexadecimal, and you can either grant or deny permission using security. Now, there are about 3 scopes. Local, domain local, meaning the permit deny can be granted on individual server, that local computer. Global, meaning the permission can be granted or denied in any computer within the same domain. Okay? And universal, the group scope can be any part of the domain, any server within the same forest. Okay, ulitin natin. Local, in single computer. Global, any computer within a single domain. Universal, multiple domain, single forest. Okay? What is AD forest and domain? When you say forest, this is the security boundary, meaning you live in a, let's say, BGC city. So you can just stay in that city. Okay? The replication will be within BGC. Okay? Not in Makati or someone else. Okay? Forest is the first thing you will install in Active Directory. Okay? Domain, what is domain? Domain is a replication boundary. So you can only replicate, propagate, copy. You have permission within the same domain. Admin, domain is an admin center. You can administer, manage, configure within the same domain. You cannot go to different domain and make configuration. Okay? What does domain provide? Domain main functionality is to authenticate and authorize. Okay, so what's authenticate and authorize? So what's the difference between the two? Authenticates, it will tell you your identity. Authorization is the location you are authorized or not authorized. Okay, so authentication identifies the person who you are. Okay, you're the one requesting legitimate access credentials. So you have these credentials. Okay, and it's a basis for creating security identity. Authorization determines your access. Let's say you purchase a ticket to Cinema 1. That means you are authorized to go Cinema 1. And eventually, you are not authorized to go to Cinema 2 because you're not permitted to. Right? Authentication, who you are. Authorization, the location you want to access. Next, trust relationships. TR provides access to resource in a complex environment, such as forest to forest, domain to domain. Let's say you want to access certain file from different domain, different forests. Okay, you have to establish trust, and there are many types of trust. Parent and child. Child will inherit from the parent. Let's say he has full access to nexus.ph. He can be able then to open up, run, configure whatever in that same domain. Another one is tree root. Tree root is the first root domain created in forest. Okay? Ano uli yung forest? Forest, collection of domains. What is domain? Domains is collection of computers. Okay? Now, if you want to automatically, the tree root inherit the parent and the child as well, because this is the first domain you will create. Later, we're going to create a domain. External, if you want to connect to other domain, let's say your IBM.com, and then the laptop maker is Lenovo.com, and you would like to identify how many computer available, you go to Lenovo.com, but you will log in as IBM.com. Okay, so you create an external trust, meaning externally they trusted your credential. Okay, then realm is the actual connectivity between forest to forest. Forest connection is the collection or the security boundary of the same domain. Okay, so there are domains. So if you establish trust, meaning you have given access to your domain, they can access the whole forest, but you have to do that manually. Shortcut is a shortcut trust, which communication between child to another forest, to another child in a different forest. Okay, let's say child video dot let's say makati.video.com, and then suddenly you give access to different forests. Another child, let's say makati.bpi.com. So you bypass the parent. You bypass the parent, you go directly to the child branch, which is another branch of another organization. Okay, of course, BPI and BDO is two different entity, right? They wouldn't trust you to log into their environment. For some reason, they needed something. They needed something. Could be we want to pull up the record of credit card application John Smith. So they will be given trust. They'll be given access to that child servers. Okay. Next, OU. What is OU? OU is a container, organizational unit. Use containers to group objects within a domain. You cannot apply GPO to container. Container are used for system objects and as default location. Why do you need to create OU? You create OU to configure object by assigning GPO. Let's say Windows 10 group organizational unit, Windows 11 organizational unit. So I can easily identify between the two operating systems. Let's say I want to deploy a hotfix, which will run Windows 10. So all I need to do, assign to the OU, okay, to apply that fix. But not to Windows 11, because they have a different hotfix, right? Another example, if the person is working in sales, but not in management, so you have to segregate the user to different organizational unit, okay? So you use the OU to apply group policy. Next is the schema. So what is schema? So dito na what is schema? Schema. No, we're gonna do it one by one. Schema. Schema is the database structure. Okay. If you know database, there are rows, columns. Let's say this is the rows, home phone. So this is the database name. And then the column description, it describes what the home phone is. And the attribute contains the telephone number. Isa pa, one more. What is network address? So this is the schema, the name of the table, for example, or the row. So what does network address contains? It contains 10.1.1.21. So that's the attribute. Okay, yung value. So may value yung row. Okay, schema is a blueprint, database blueprint. Overview of replication. Within Active Directory, infra, standard DC, replicate AD info by using multi-master replication models. How do they propagate database? As I've mentioned a while ago, we're going to have two Active Directory, one in server 1, second AD is on server 2. How they propagate? That's the question. How they copy to each other? They copy using multi-master, which means everyone is a master. Everyone master, meaning server 1 can push database update to server 2. Server 2 can download database from server 1. Both are master. They can send and receive at the same time. Okay? So that's multi-master. AD data is separated logically into several partitions. So meron siyang partition. Config partition, which contains how AD connects to another AD, and many more. Schema partition contains the database structure. Let's say login ID, administrator, okay, date created, August 28, something like that. And there are domain partition. So domain partition contains configuration about how domain are connected. And there's an optional partition, which is application partition. If they have SQL partition, it will contain configuration on how to connect to another application. Okay, so application more on apps level like SQL, domain config, database structure, how AD connect to each other, and how they replicate. Okay? Characteristic of replication, there are in a very large environment, simple environment is multi-master, where anybody can replicate. So can you see this one? This database, propagate, copy, delete at the same time. Okay, multi-master. Everyone a master. There is a pool-based. Let's say server 2 can only download from server 1, but he cannot push update. Let's say someone changed password here. They won't be able to do that. Okay, they can only do from server 1. There's a characteristic of store and forward, meaning the database can be forwarded and save, forwarded and save, forwarded and save, store and forward. There's a data store partitioning. So there's a special, if you can see, there's a slice. Let's say I would like to propagate admin group only. Okay, so you're partitioning. I would like to exclude password policy replication, meaning the password will not be replicated. Okay, so data store partitioning. There's an automatic generation of topology. The moment we install 1 and 2, they are propagating. Automatic generate. I didn't do anything. No? There's an attribute level. Let's say from server 1, my first name, last name. Server 2, first name, last name. Then suddenly someone updated the last name. Okay, and you don't want to propagate changes of last name from server 1 to server 2. So you only update, let's say, the schema, but not the attribute. Okay, in content. You can exclude the content. Another one is distinct control of inter-site replication. They have special site replication policy. Let's say, one example, password should not be changed here, or password cannot be replicated for security reason. And there's another characteristic such as collision detection and management. Let's say two admin at the same time change first name. They change first name here. They change first name here. From Rika, no? Girl, Rika. Then someone changed here. Rika rin. Same name, no? Yung pala Ricardo. What will happen? What will happen if someone changes at the same time? There's an automatic collision detection. So who will win? The one with the latest date stamp. Okay, the one with the latest update. Okay? Who will win? The one with the latest update. How do you detect collision? The one with the latest update. Okay? Any question about replication? Anybody? Let's say sabay nag-replicate. What will happen? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Naka-audio ba ako? Someone told me walang
Yes, sir.
marinig.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Meron ba?
I can hear you.
Yeah, maybe nakamute tayo ng break time. Okay? If you see something sa desk na timer, countdown, nakamute yan. Okay, anybody, what is collision detection?
Pag may dalawang nag-edit at the same time,
Correct. No? Who will win?
Latest latest
Yeah,
date
tama.
stamp.
The one with the latest date stamp. Okay, it's easy. Can't you hear Miss John Austin? Just John Austin nanyo. John Austin.
Sir, question. Regarding the timestamp, is that from the host or dun sa server na
Sa
kung saan
database. Yeah.
sa DB? Okay.
Okay, someone's asking, John Austin, what protocol nag-run yung our applications? LDAP, Lightweight Directory Access Protocol for Windows. Huh?
Sir, question, sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, about replication, sir. Like, halimbawa, sir, sa data, halimbawa, meron kang gina-process na data, sir. Like, server 1 and server 2, sir, live yung replication yun, sir.
Yeah, live. I'll make a demonstration. So I will create 100 users. Makikita mo, within few seconds, 100 users propagated here. That means it's a multi-master connection. No?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So next, sign-in process. When you log into the Windows server, what's really happening? What's happening? Napaka low level nito, no? Talagang detailed. It's really detailed. Let's say server 1. Server 1 is for testing, for testing. When you log in, let's say user 1, you will provide username, password, username, account. You will be authenticated in server 1. The DC, the domain, will send you back TGT. TGT is ticket granting ticket, meaning you'll be given a ticket. That ticket will apply to access. Let's say you have access to server 2. Hence, you will be given access to server 2. Okay, that DHT will apply access and return back here, and he will know that you have permission to access. Napakasimple. Okay. Lesson 2, how do you deploy Active Directory? So install domain controller from server manager. This is the manual. There are 3 options. Add domain control to an existing. If you have an existing, let's say for the first time, there's no forest. So the first thing you need to do is add new forest. That forest will be the first domain in the forest eventually. Let's say you put this one neil.com or johnaustin.com. Okay, justin.com or what else? Earn.com. Okay, so that will be the first domain in the forest. If you select the second option, add new domain, this will be a child domain. Okay, let's say Banco de Oro, they have a branch in BGC, bgc.video.com. That's a branch, which is child. Makati.video.com is a child. Okay, which you can manage the propagation. Okay, a DC, that's what we're going to do. We're going to add another additional controller. Hence, on the first one, we're gonna select this one and create nexus.local domain. On the second server, we're gonna select this because we're going to add DC to nexus.local. All right. So that will be our project 2. Install AD, navigate to AD, create object. We're gonna use PowerShell. Okay, so first of all, before we go here, I would like to create Active Directory. So please do not be confused. You always need, this is server 1, do everything on server 1. You always need ICE. What is ICE? I've explained it a while ago. ICE is the integrated shell environment, which you can run the PowerShell. Server 1, make sure server 1, 2, 3 are running. And they can ping each other. Huh? They can ping. So without the proper host name, there should be sequence. Huh? Without the host name, without IP, your installation will not be successful. Okay. And that one is expanding. So please wait for a while. If you can observe from VM server 1, 4.2 gigabyte. Huh? So you have to be patient. Okay, there are many ways to install Active Directory. One is via PowerShell. You can open the file. So if the script is not appearing, just go view, show script pane. Okay, file. I want file open. Or you can open the file. Ito pala. Nasa host. This is our project number 2. Okay. Install Active Directory. So how do you install? Okay, first we're gonna do manual. So I'm gonna go start button, server manager. So this is the manual step. Wait for this one to finish. Add roles. Okay, so I've already explained this one, between the two, server and the desktop. And then where do you want to install Active Directory? That's a question. Okay, install in .21. What do you want to install? I want to install Active Directory, domain services. Okay, and it will install the RSAT or include management tools in PowerShell. Click next. Very straightforward. Next, restart the server 1. If needed, then click installation. So it will do validation first. Okay, validation. You will check if the requirements are met. The requirements is you should have static IP and host name. Okay, installation started. Am I recording? Yeah, recording. Then while waiting, I'm gonna log into server 2. We always log in using console. Okay, console, not RDP. First thing you need to do sa server in server 1 is you need to join this one to the domain. You cannot do anything unless this one is joined to the domain. So I'm gonna do a sanity check. I want to make sure I can reach server 1. So how do I do that? Anybody? Connectivity check, basic check. How will I
Ping.
know? Ping lang, ping. Very basic. No? So just simple ping will do. Ping server. Host name, if you can see, it's IPv6 responding. So if I were you, I'm gonna disable that one because it's confusing. It doesn't give me the IPv4. So disable IPv6. We don't need IPv6. This is just private. You don't need IPv6 pag private. Well, iba kailangan. If you can see this, you cannot identify the IP address, right? So since I disable, ako pala server 2. Since I disable, it will give me the correct IP. Okay? How about server 3? Okay, it's giving me the correct IP. Okay? I'm in server 2. I was able to connect to both. Okay. Next, after installation, there's an option to promote for this to become a domain controller. Now, as I mentioned a while ago, this will be our first domain in the first forest. Hence, I will select add new forest. Now, please stick to the naming convention Nexus Local. Because all throughout the lesson, we will be using Nexus Local. Okay? And then it will do validation. Is that I will check every requirements if requirement has been met. Forest functional, it has backward compatibility even if you're using 2016. And if you select 2012, it has backward compatibility to 2012, but you are not using the full functionality. Okay? As much as possible, lahat dapat can go backward lang to 2016. Okay. DNS, it will install DNS to resolve host name. It's one of the requirement in Active Directory. And global catalog for easier searching of objects. What are objects? Anybody? Anthony? Objects, users, computers. Okay.
Users.
And users, computers, and groups. No? So please use the same password for easier troubleshooting if you ask me. DNS delegation cannot be found because it doesn't exist. That's why we select, there's a DNS installation option. Click next. NetBIOS can be resolved using Windows XP and Windows 7. Some of the legacy application still running, they still have Windows 7. So the purpose of NetBIOS, it will be backward compatible to Windows 7 and Windows XP. he doesn't recognize .local or .com. Okay? He can only recognize 11 characters. Database, the data store will be saved to the default location. We will go to that location and review your settings. Click next, and then it will do a prerequisite check if all requirements has been met. So I'll give it a while. No, give coffee muna, coffee. So later on, I'm gonna run a video. I hope na you have your picture here so we can post your face. No? Pass successfully, click install. So it will do validation pa rin. He's saying the default security setting is NT4, allow cryptography to backward. Even if you're using NT4, it's a backward compatibility. Waiting for DNS installation before installing AD, should have DNS. Okay. Kahit single DNS. Why? For hostname to be resolved. Forward and reverse. Okay, so progress, check. Configuring local computers to host AD, creating objects, partition. These are the partition you're asking. Configuration partition. 600 objects remaining. Creating objects. Again, what are objects? Users, groups, and computers. So one by one, I'll explain everything. Local policy, what is the default local policy will be inherited in the domain. Okay? Securing machine control services, securing using Kerberos policy, meaning he's just doing a simple encryption. Configuring DNS, creating a record, and so on. CNAME, so you can be able to solve when you ping. Okay, you need to reboot this one. Automatically, remember a while ago, I selected a tick reboot. So without doing anything, without clicking close, it should reboot automatically. Okay, did I? Ayun, nag-reboot mag-isa. It rebooted by itself, okay? So this will take a while. So that's why I'm going to move to the next one. So in our second server, we can install Active Directory using this Powershell. We're going to make sure that we have all the modules installed. You can skip this one because we already created the domain. You need to install to an existing domain. And then how do you verify? Get AD domain. I get AD domain. Congratulations, you have set up directory. Okay. So let's wait until this one is finished. Skip to go to server 2. So let's wait until it finish. Go ahead, go ahead.
Dun sa server 1, nag-create lang tayo ng forest.
Forest and domain.
Okay. Thank you.
So log in to server 3. If you notice 3 servers are running, they cannot, if it doesn't run, just reboot the host or wait for a while. So while waiting, so we're not wasting a single time. While waiting, get ready your computer to join the domain. All right, that's the requirements. So if someone is going to ask me what are the requirements, should be a member of the domain. Okay, reachable from server 3. Okay, let's wait. And there should be a DNS. Remember, we put DNS. Without DNS, you won't be able to resolve server 1. So that's why there's DNS. That's the purpose of DNS. Huh? Server 3. You will notice I quickly slide from one server to another. If you're confused which server I log in, just check the console name. Okay, console name. Okay. You need a big monitor. Okay, DNS. Huh? What's the DNS? To resolve domain name resolution. While waiting, we're not gonna waste any single moment. We're gonna proceed to the next topic. What is DC? What is domain controller? Domain controller are servers that host the Active Directory database. It's located under C:\Windows NT/NTDS. Windows NTDS, na? NTDS.dit is the database. And also has a copy in sysvol. So 2 copies. DC, it hosts the Kerberos authentication. So what is the authentication protocol? Kerberos. What is the Active Directory? LDAP. Okay, LDAP. KDC will perform authentication. What's the best practice? Availability, minimum of 2. Minimum of 2, always 2. In case the other server is unreachable, you can be authenticated and authorized to the second host, second server. Security, employ RODC, read only from different site. Let's say you have sites, you just use read only, so they cannot change anything. And security encryption is BitLocker. BitLocker will, when user log in, they will be asked for let's say 6-digit PIN. 6-digit PIN. Then username and password. Okay, security. And they have only basic encryption. Okay. What is global catalog? Global catalog hosts partial attributes set for other domain in the forest. I'll give you an example. Let's say you are in server 2, which is in BGC, server 1 Sydney. How will they search each other now? So with global catalog, the first thing I'm gonna ask is AD. Where is user number 2? No, then I will be given a reference. User number 2 is server 2. Hence, you exist. I can be able to give you TGT. Okay, so it hosts a partial information which is in other domain in the forest. Okay? So what's the purpose? For easier searching, for fast searching. Okay, in a single DC, you should configure all DC to hold a copy of the global catalog for faster searching, okay? For faster response time. No? In a multiple domain, the inframaster should not be the global catalog. Okay. The main one should not be global catalog because it will be exhausting for him. Okay. So you have to transfer the role to different domain. When you have multiple sites, you should also make at least one DC at each site, a GC. So meaning if you have 10 sites, BGC, Makati, Cebu, Davao, Sydney, each site should be a global catalog. Okay. What are ops master? In the multi-master replication model, some ops operations must be single master, meaning one domain, multiple jobs. Right? Many terms used for single master operation. So they have used a lot of terms. When you say operation master, this is the master role, which contains the 5 FISMO roles, meaning everything is running in a single server. These 5 roles are running in single server, which is exhausting. No? There are roles called single master, meaning only domain naming master on the first server, schema master on second server, third server read master, infra master on the 4th server, and 5th server of PDC. That's why you need a lot of server. And another term called flexible single master operation, meaning he is flexible. He can perform any task. Any task. Domain naming master, the one responsible for domain name resolution. Okay, yung names of the computer. Schema is the one for database replication. Meaning if there are 100 users in server 1, the structure of the database will be propagated to all multi-master in a single domain. Okay. In domain, there is a read master. Read meaning relative identifier master. When you create a user, you'll be given a unique ID. To identify you are unique. There should not be a duplicate. So read master, the one responsible for that. So what does read master create? Read master create security ID. So I will log in as domain admin. So I'll show you what does relative identifier looks like. So open up, always open up ICE. Okay, ICE. I see this one, ICE. It's more user friendly. You can pin this one to taskbar. Run. Okay. Always run as admin. I'll show you the example of read. So if we're gonna display one user, let's say administrator, since I haven't created anything, and you wanna display security ID. Wait, why get AD? AD user. Typo error, AD user. Okay, what I've shown you is the security ID. So this is the unique identifier. Okay. So what's the effect? What's the essence? If read master is off, if that service is off, you won't be able to create user, groups, or computer, because he's the one responsible in creating identifier. Okay? Do you feel the effect if one role is missing? Okay. On high note, you can transfer role if you want to dig in. Inframaster meaning he's the one responsible for group to group replication. Let's say there's a group one. Group one will be propagated to server two. Whose function is that? Inframaster. PDC emulator, he's the one responsible for synchronizing the time. So what will happen if time is not synchronized? There will be trust relationship issue. Again, from the top, domain naming master, responsible for domain name resolution. Schema master, database attribute level, database structure. So what is database structure? So this is the database structure. If you want to display all, just type star. So these are the database schema. This is the attribute. Let's say, when did you set the password? Today, that time. Okay. Isa pa, one more. What is the account name? The value is administrator. Okay. Is it clear ba? Clear? Read master, the one responsible for creating security ID, ito, replication of group, and so many more. Atomic time replication. Okay. So how do you transfer the role? Let's say one role is exhausted. You can transfer the role. It's very easy. So it's you go to the Active Directory. Just go to the domain. Later now I'll show you. This is the operation master. Transfer to server 2. Kaya lang. Okay? Since I don't have server 2 AD, I won't be able to transfer. Okay. So I'm gonna create server 2 to become Active Directory. So that's the
So how you will know na exhausted na yung isang part doon?
pag if you
Magkakaroon ng
see
error?
CPU, if you see the performance, like CPU is like always 80%, and then AD is the only service running. You won't be able to give authentication service. Okay. Okay. So as you can see, there's no computer, and we only have domain controller 1, server 1. Later on, we can have server 2 as a domain controller. Okay, and there will be another computer after joining. So I'm gonna join this one. How do you join? Click system info. If you can see work group. Later on, it should be dot nexus.local. Okay? So click change settings. Change from work group to nexus local. Then it will be asking for domain admin. Then it should welcome you. Welcome to Nexus local domain. The next thing you need to do, you have to reboot. So changes will take effect. Huh? So same story here. Take 2. Watch me. So click system. So if someone asking, is it fast? Yeah, take 2. There's always take 2. Click rename. So it's impossible that you can miss this one. Sorry, not really. System info. We have to join this one to the domain. Change settings. Change from work group to domain. Then it'll be asking for domain credential. Okay, not local, not local, huh? So that's why I put Nexus. Welcome to Nexus domain. Okay, reboot. So since we joined 3 and 2, it